Thanks a lot, Yulin. And my first question will be to Irea, the student from Albania. Irea, due to the pandemic, your school was closed and you received distance education. What new tools and activities did your teacher introduce to help you with the learning on a distance and to help you to progress with your study?
During the lockdown period of COVID-19, our teacher would be in touch with us every day through WhatsApp or Zoom. We had working on class groups in WhatsApp mostly. In order to check for understanding, we used the question, our teachers used question and answer or regular online quizzes, sometimes homeworks which were timed, sometimes in groups, sometimes individual homeworks. Another way that our teachers use will also direct question during Zoom seasons. So this was a way of learning during the lockdown period.
Lori, why did you develop these activities and why have you started to use these tools? And which were the most successful and the most useful for you?
During the lockdown pandemic, the school switched abruptly from being fully face-to-face to being fully online. So we had to adapt very quickly in order to continue the learning and the teaching and process in order to support the learning, but also to do that in a way that we relieved and eased the stress and all the anxiety that was present very strongly, not only in us, but also in our students' lives. Me and my colleagues, we try to find interesting and motivating ways to continue the learning process of our students. During the first period, we created WhatsApp groups and we started to send assignments through PowerPoints that included homeworks and activities for different levels of students, from the most challenged ones to the more advanced ones, in order to ensure that they continued the swift learning process.
We discussed WhatsApp and online quizzes. So what tool was most useful for you and why?
In order to make sure that the students continue their learning process, we had to find ways to also ensure formative assessment. And the formative assessment was much more focused on the learning rather than just making sure to get the grade. We already knew our students very well and we knew where they were at. So the activities that were being created were, first of all, interesting and intriguing, so that they would be included and they would enjoy doing these activities. And they will have different levels of requests. One of the ways I did it was to time the activities so that the more advanced students would give the answer in a timing period, so they would be motivated by getting a grade. I would also offer creative activities like, now I'm remembering this theme of protecting the consumer. And what I asked them was to just express in a creative way how do they understand this concept. So some students send me an essay, some others do a design or send a painting. In order to make sure that all the students were involved, I would make sure that each session had also a repetition opportunity, so the students would at least give back a wrap-up of what was developed and presented prior to the session. That meant that this was an opportunity to express the concept, the main concept, with their own wording, and that is very important for vocational education, because that means that the concept has been grasped and you can see it in a short period. For example, I use the activity such as an elevator pitch, that they have to repeat what were the main concept in the lesson in not more than 2 to 3 minutes, as long as an elevator trip takes. This way, it was not very difficult to understand whether the students were on track or not, and if the students would not be performing as I already expected them to be performing, I would be contacting them often.
Thanks a lot, Lottie. So my next question is again going to be to Irea. So what was your experience with these activities? What do you think about using WhatsApp for learning? And what was your reaction when you saw that WhatsApp could be actually used for learning? And how did it help in the learning process? Irea.
Yeah. Online learning wasn't that easy. First of all, I was a little bit scared how it would be. When we started, it started to be a little bit tiresome and sometimes stressful. But what was very useful for us was that we were in a continuous contact with our teachers. We could write on them any time of the day, and they were very understanding and try to explain us everything that wasn't that clear, even if eventually. This was very helpful for us. And I think this way of learning was successful. We get all the information that we need.
Thank you, Ray. Lord, and last question to you. What did you and what did the students do with the feedback that they received from these different practices and these different tools? And how did you use this feedback for further learning process?
During the pandemic lockdown, things depended on the level of the classroom. I presented different tools depending on the level of the students that I was teaching. And the most important thing for me was to make sure that the students felt supported. And what happened was that I was with them not just in the teaching period, I was with them the whole day. And that showed me I really enjoyed the responsibility and eagerness to be involved from all the students. And to tell you the truth, I felt much more connected with my students during that period rather than when we were in the classroom, because usually we just go and teach and then we might not see the kids until the next hour. While during the lockdown, we were in touch all the time. In a classroom happens that some students don't speak unless asked. And this was not the case during the quarantine, because they will be involved and show that they were interested in the learning, and they were part of the classroom and sending messages. So that made sure that the learning process continued even better than what I expected at the beginning of the quarantine.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Lori. Irea, good luck with your studies. I really hope you will enjoy it as you do now. Lori, good luck with all your innovative practice and keep up good work. And Maria, over to Yolene.